Remarkably close to 99% or more of trading card games fail. Thus, we have almost an infinite supply of interesting old trading card games to look at in our Dead TCG series. Today, we're going to look at Shadowrun. Now, Shadowrun is an auto-print collectible card game from 1993, I believe, 1997. A spin-off of the actual Shadowrun role-playing game. It's set in the same scenario, a cyberpunk setting with fantasy elements, an apocalyptic near-Earth with advanced technology, bioengineering, robotics, virtual reality, which was also populated by magic, supernatural beings such as elves and dragons. The interesting thing about the Shadowrun license is it continues to be used today. There are video games that came out in the late 2000s, and just last year, there was a brand new hacking-style TCG set in the Shadowrun universe. So even though this particular TCG didn't make it, its world continues to live on. Is that probably the best way to put it? Interesting. It actually won the Trading Card Game Award at Origins back in 1997 as Best Trading Card Game and Best Graphic Presentation of a Card Game in 1997. The games take between 1 and 2 hours, and there are 7 different types of cards. You have runners, which you collect groups of these characters and use them to make runs and objectives, hence Shadowrun. Some of these can support the group through computers while staying at home. These cards have symbols on them that represent their abilities, and they're used to bypass threats without actually having to face them. And you have objectives. These are what you're making runs on. They are worth reputation points and usually have a task that you must best or a number of symbols that you must match with the symbols on the runners. Challenge. You assign these to the objectives as additional hurdles that you have to get before you can tackle the objective. Usually, you can bypass them with the right symbols, but if not, they represent nasty things that you'll have to fight off or that will just hurt you. Then you have locations, contacts, and specials. Everything in this game is driven by money, which is hard to come by. It costs money to acquire almost every card, and a lot of cards require money spent just to keep them in play every time you use them. So, interesting world. A lot of times, this is one of the best taglines for a universe, where man meets magic and machine. Pretty good tagline. It'll be interesting to see what kind of shape these cards are in. Now, I'm interested in how many of you played Shadowrun. Have you played any of the newer renditions of Shadowrun? There was one that came out last year at Origins Game Fair. Have you played the video game? This one, I wasn't as easy to find if there was like a thriving existing community. The thing is, with TCGs, they have to have, when you're going to sell booster packs, probably the number one most important thing to the game surviving if you're going to sell booster packs is a thriving secondary market. You have to have a reason for somebody to go spend $3 on a 15-card booster pack as opposed to just buying the entire game all at once. Like something like here, Star Realms, where you can buy this for like $20 and play the game. You don't have to buy boosters. Now, you can buy boosters of Star Realms that add more fun to your game. But you don't have to buy endless supplies of these boosters. When United Command came out, you only had to show up at your local game store and pick up one pack. And they were like $3 or $4. There was no like foil chase cards, none of this crap. You bought one, you moved on with your life. It changed your game a little bit. And that, in my opinion, is why most trading card games failed. Eventually, people ask, why am I still spending $4 a booster pack? I want just this one card. Can I just get that one card? Here we have a location, Caves of Halferville. Mr. Johnson. Media Chick. Rao. Nice. Nice to see him drawing women like women. Cards are not bent at all, surprisingly. I mean, not surprisingly. Only Wizards of the Coast cards seem to bend. Turbo Ganger. We have a security camera. I really love this art. This really reminds me of like revised era Magic art, which makes sense because it came out in 1997. Bounty Hunter. Yamaha Rapier. Security Drone. Cover Up. Uncle Joe. Burned Out Mage. Bugged Deck. Block Party. Kind of reminds you of like Garbage Pail Kids, right? Dirk Montgomery, Detective. Dirk. Why do I like dead trading card games so much? Well, they teach us a lot. And to be honest, you can acquire them. You can acquire enough cards to play the game for relatively cheap. And then, you know, you buy a couple booster packs of Shadowrun, you buy a booster box, you play the game, and you put it away. That's what I do with, for example, Rage. By the way, these Rage cards that I opened in last week's episode have not bent or warped at all. But when I open up more of these, what I'll end up doing is sleeving them all. I'm putting them in a, maybe I won't sleeve them, but I'll put them in a 900 count box, file them in the library, and then when people come over, maybe we'll fire up a game of Rage or a game of Shadowrun, Yak Attack, Luck of the Irish, Loaded Dice, Voice Print ID Scanner, Grandfather Bone Shaman, Jackhammer, Elven Hitman, Corporate Secretary, ha, Security Camera, Shell Shock Mercenary, Sleep, Sleaze, Hunting Gargoyle, Skillsoft, and Squark Cyborg. Now, this is kind of what primarily what I'm talking about with older dead TCGs. This game, you could play with 1 to 2 players. However, it was best with 3 to 4 players. It took about an hour to play, and you had to be 12 or 13 to probably really understand it. But it was a little more complex. It kind of only appealed at the time to people into the Shadowrun universe, even though Cyberpunk is kind of a long-standing, interesting thing that people really love. There's only one expansion, I believe, that ever happened with this set. And when you buy booster packs, does it have the price on the box? Let's see. The original price of this booster box, $107.64. Like, they legitimately, it won't focus because it's manual focus down. $107.64. Why the 64 cents? Nobody knows. I paid like $40 for it. But I bought one box to keep sealed forever. And the thing with dead TCGs that don't have a secondary market, they don't really go up in value. So hopefully when I'm at Gen Con, and I see your suggestions in the comments, by the way. I see all of your suggestions, and I will make a long list of... So between now and Gen Con, how many episodes of Dead TCG will we have? Another, what, 3? 3 more? So we'll probably do World of Warcraft, for sure. Wyvern, maybe. We'll look at it. But then you're all suggesting dead TCGs that you remember, or out of print TCGs. I'm going to take that list, and there's usually a couple vendors at Gen Con selling it. I'll try to get them there because it'll make a good video, and I like to support the vendors as long as they're fairly priced. If they're close to like eBay prices, I'll buy there because then we'll have a fun video, or maybe I'll get some people together and we'll play a game of some old TCG and we'll film it. Because I know I probably have about 50 of you between this channel and my second channel, The Quartering, who have reached out and want to hang out at Gen Con, so we're going to have some fun. So keep your suggestions coming. I'm interested to... I never played Shadowrun, so I'm interested to hear if you did. I like the art a lot, but again, I'm biased to this type of art because this is kind of when I started playing trading card games. Oh, I mentioned, so when you're paying that and you start to get duplicates, and if there's no secondary market for Thrash Rocker, then you feel bad. And when you feel bad, you don't buy more booster packs. That is just the way it is. HK227, Skinny Arrow Rambo. So that's why a lot of these fail. You have to have a secondary market if you're going to sell booster packs. I'm learning a lot from these out-of-print trading card games, and maybe one day I'll do my own. People have always been asking me, like, will you do your own trading card game? I would, but it would be way more like Star Realms, where somebody could spend $50 and get everything they need to play the game, and then have like yearly updates. I would definitely be that. I wouldn't even try to sell booster packs. It's just not smart in today's market, I don't think. Sleep. See, we're already getting a lot of dupes. Camo. Interesting. Well, I like to just kind of take a look at these old TCGs. If you have suggestions for one you'd like me to cover, I would love to hear it. If you have personal stories about the Shadowrun Tcg, that would be awesome. If you have ones, again, that you want me to buy when I'm at Gen Con, please list them down in the description below. If you like the Dead TCG series, make sure you like that video. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.